Hi folks, today on the show we're going to be doing setup, playthrough, and gameplay impressions of a game called Endangered. This is for 2 to 5 players and it plays in around 60 minutes. It's designed by a gentleman named Joe Hopkins and it is from the Grand Gamers Guild, that is the publisher. Now, what's the game about? It is about conserving and saving the lives of endangered animals in the jungle in this preview print and play version that I've built and that I've gotten a chance to play and that I'm going to be showing you today. So on one level, you have to save the tigers in the tiger module over time because they're going to be affected by environmental and human impacts. But on another level, you also have to convince ambassadors from different countries to vote yes on this endangered species legislation that you and your teammates are pushing, are trying to get enacted to be able to save the animals. Now, yes, I did say teammates, so this is a cooperative game. The main mechanic is dice placement and worker placement, which is probably my favorite mechanic in hobby tabletop gaming right now. So this game is right up my alley from a mechanic perspective, and also it was this kind of unique theme that drew me in. You don't see a lot of games talking about saving endangered species, which is another reason why I was attracted to it. So enough talking, let's meet at the table for a setup of the game. So the first piece of setup is the game board, which I built as a quad fold game board sealed with a seam of duct tape here. And we're going to go ahead and unfold that. I'll give you a quick tour of the elements of the game board here. So you see, this is the jungle habitat where the tigers are going to be set up and where they live. And you'll notice that it's divided into columns and rows, and you will see why it's divided like that a little later on. This is the year track. It keeps track of what year it is in the game, and it also keeps track of whose turn it is in the current turn. And it also tells you, based on the number of players, when it will be time to count the votes of the different ambassadors in the game. So me, I'm going to play solo two-handed, which means a two-player game. So we will play 8 or 9 years, 8 or 9 turns. So in this game, 1 turn equals 1 year in game time. And also, over here on the right, you see some actions that are already available to all players at the start of the game. You see this relocate action, replant action, plan, and social media campaign. I won't dive into these actions too much at this start. We'll get to see those things organically as we move through in the game. Next, we're going to make some stockpiles of animal tokens here on the left side of the board. So here are some animal tokens. So here's tigers. So this is the tiger module that we'll be playing. And I mounted these stickers on some poker chips. So we'll place them over here on the left side of the board. So those are our animal tokens. And we need some influence cubes. So I got these from a thrifted game of Bloxels from the thrift store. So these are green influence cubes. And these influence cubes are going to keep track of the influence that you're going to be doing on the ambassadors. So I'll put these in a supply over here on the left side as well. And we have to have a supply of money tokens. So these are some money tokens. Each one of these tokens represents $1 million. And I actually printed these and then I mounted them on a little bit of thick cardboard and then I cut them out with scissors to be able to follow the outline of the pile of cash. So I will make a stockpile of money tokens here on the left side as well. We have to place our offspring dice and our destruction dice. So you'll see how these dice factor into gameplay a little later on. I'll put them over here on the left side. Finally, we're going to have these are called destruction tiles. So as gameplay goes on, these tiles are going to go on sections of the board to indicate that that has been affected and it is now destroyed. Any tigers in a tile, if this destruction tile is placed, also get removed from the game, meaning they sadly pass away. I'm going to put these on this side of the board as well. Next, we have to take the year marker So this is the year marker here, and we have to place it on the year marker in the 1 spot. So that tells us that we are starting at year number 1. Now the next bit of setup is we have here 9 blue-backed ambassador cards and 3 gray-backed ambassador cards. So where's that other ambassador card? There you go. And how do we get these set up? So we're supposed to shuffle, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. Shuffling these blue-backed ambassador cards. And then the instructions are to deal 5 of these ambassador cards face down. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So we don't know who these ambassadors are, and more importantly, we don't know what are their requirements to be able to get their vote. So we'll find that out later on in the game. And you take one of the gray-backed ambassador cards, you don't know which one, and then you place it. So you have a total of 6 ambassador cards for every game. Now, the other ambassador cards that weren't used, we put them back in the box. So that was general setup. Any module that you be playing, you will always set up initially with those steps that we just took. Now, each scenario or module has specific setup steps, and for the Tiger module that we'll be playing today, that's in this Tiger specific setup board here. So what have we got here? It says use the jungle side of the board, that's what we're doing, and add 8 tigers to the board in the pattern shown here. All right, so let's study that pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see if I can reproduce that pattern right now. So 1, 2, 2 tigers in this space here, 2 tigers in this space here, and then 7 and 8. Let's go ahead and compare. Did I get it right? I believe I did. Okay. And it says there will be 7 tigers left in the supply over there. And then make a supply pile of 16 deforestation tiles. So there they are. I've been calling them destruction tiles. They're actually deforestation. They're destroying the forest, so I'll allow it. And then there's some rules for when tigers mate and produce offspring, or hopefully produce offspring, which I won't go into right now because you'll see them later in gameplay. And also when tigers get destroyed by those deforestation tiles. Again, I won't go into those deeply right now. Also on the Tiger-specific setup, there's information here on how you can make the game easier by only requiring 3 yes votes in a voting year to win the game. We'll be playing on normal difficulty where we'll need 4 yes votes. And in hard mode, you begin the game with 1 environmental impact already in play. So that's what that looks like. And after we've got that, we also will take these impact cards. So every scenario has impacts that are specific to that animal that you're playing, and that scenario you're playing. We're going to go ahead and shuffle these right now. Okay, and then that impact deck will be placed. I'm going to place it somewhere over here to the left. Now we move on to choosing the roles, the player setup and the roles that we're going to be playing in this game. So there are 4 to choose from, and in my first game last night I chose to play as the lobbyist and as the TV wildlife host. Now, since I've already played those roles, now in my second game I'm going to try some different roles here. So I'm going to be playing as the zoologist. I'm going to be playing two-handed. So I'll be playing, one of my roles that I'll play is the zoologist, and the other one is the philanthropist. Okay? And their decks and their boards and everything are all color-coded, which is really nice. So the philanthropist, who I will place right here, has some color-coded deck of cards, which I'm going to go ahead and shuffle, right? And these cards are, some are shared with other roles, but some are unique to that particular role. So I'm going to put that there right now. You also have a turn marker. So this is used to be able to determine if it's your turn or who's next in the turn. So I'll put that right there for now. And you also have dice that are matched to the color of that roll. So I have some nice purple dice. They're actually pink, but pink is playing the role of purple for this game. And finally, and this is kind of cool, each roll has a choice of 2 different special powers. You have to choose one for the game. So what are our choices here? The Philanthropist has Charitable Foundation. You may use any player's money as though it were your own. That's pretty cool. Or Gala Fundraisers. Once per your own turn, you may discard 1 card from your hand to collect $1 million. So do I want to be able to use other players' money, or do I want to be able to gain money per turn? You know what? I'm going to choose this Charitable Foundation. So that is going to be the Philanthropist special power for this game. And this other one goes back in the box. It won't be used for this game. All right. Now we'll do a similar thing for the Zoologist. Set up the Zoologist right here. Their turn marker. And they have their own deck of cards, which I've already shuffled. And let's choose their special power, shall we? So this one is Reintroduction to the Wild. Once per turn, you may remove 1 influence from an ambassador to add 1 animal to an empty space adjacent to a mating pair. That's very good. What have we got here? The other one is Migration Routes. When you perform an action that lets you move an animal, you may move it 1 additional space. I'm going to choose this one because what I noticed in my first game was that it was very difficult for me to actually increase the number of animals in my habitat. So I think this is going to help me a little bit. I hope so. And we'll put that right there. And the Zoologist, who has a green color scheme, will also have a green set of dice. And we'll put there, not the special power we didn't choose, we'll put that back in the box as well. One of the last pieces of setup is the specialty that you chose indicates also the name of a card in your deck. So if you look down here, this specialty card for the Philanthropist is indicating that we will start with the card called Canvassing. So that's another decision that you have to factor in. What card are you going to start with? So we actually have to go through this deck and look for a card called Canvassing. And you can see the names at the along the top there. So Adopt an Animal, Dividends, Rescue, Research, Donate, Recycle. There's Canvassing. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and reshuffle this deck so that, you know, not that I will remember any of that sequence of cards that we happen to take a peek at. All right. Now, your specialty card indicates a starting card from your player deck. Find it and check the black bar to see what type of card it is. So this is an action. And an action, if that is the type of card, we put it into play in the action zone at the side of the board. So this, on the right side of the board, beside the kind of starting actions, this is called the action area. So if you have a card with a word action in the black bar, that means that this becomes another potential place where you can place your action dice. So I'm going to go ahead and place this action card right over here, and that gives us another action that we'll be able to select a little later on. Now we'll do the same thing for the Zoologist. The Zoologist will start with Volunteer, so we have to find the Volunteer card here. Sign petition, go to work, collect specimens, adopt an animal, protest, go to work, research findings, recycle, research, volunteer. Of course, it had to be the very last card. It is also an action. This card is going to, if we place a dice on it, it will discard both this volunteer card and we'll be able to get rid of an active persistent impact card. Now, based on my last time I played this, persistent impact cards are the absolute worst. And you may very well see that as we play this later on. So this is a very nice card to be able to start with. I'm going to place this over here. And now we start the game. Oh, you didn't see that on camera. I placed it over there, and now we start the game with 2 extra action placement spots or options in addition to the ones that are already printed on the board. So that is kind of a nice starting setup for ourselves. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the Zoologist's deck, and then we will start playing the game.